and our guest of honor, Mr. Tim Day. Please remain standing for the official party and remain standing for the March On of the Colors, national anthem sung by Lance Corporal Walter, and the entrance of our traditional birthday cake.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Howdy!
On November 10, 1921, General John A. Lejeune, 13th Commandant of the Marine Corps, directed that a reminder of the honorable service of the United States Marine Corps be published by every command, to all commands throughout the globe, on the birthday of the United States Marine Corps. Since that day, Marines have continued to distinguish themselves many battlefields and foreign shores, in war and peace. On this birthday of the Corps, therefore, in compliance with the will of the 13th Commandant, Article 38, United States Marine Corps Manual, edition of 1921, is republished as follows.
General Lejeune's birthday message. On November 10th, 1775, a Corps of Marines was created by a resolution of the Continental Congress. Since that date, many thousands of men have borne that name, Marine. In memory of them, it is fitting that we, who are Marines, should commemorate the birthday of our Corps by calling to mind the glories of its long and illustrious history. The record of our Corps is one which bears comparison with that of the most famous military organizations in the world's history. During 90 of the 146 years of its existence, the Marine Corps has been in action against the nation's foes. From the Battle of Trenton to the Argonne, Marines have won foremost honors in war, and in the long era of tranquility at home, generation after generation of Marines have grown gray in war, both in hemispheres and every corner of the 7 seas, so that our country and its citizens might enjoy peace and security. In every battle and skirmish since the birth of our Corps, Marines have acquitted themselves with the greatest distinction, winning new honors with each occasion, until the term Marine has come to signify all that is highest in military efficiency and soldierly virtue. This high name of distinction and soldierly repute, we who are Marines today have received from those who preceded us in the Corps. With it, we are also received from them the eternal spirit which has animated our Corps from generation and has long been the distinguishing mask of Marines in every age. So long as that spirit continues to flourish, Marines will be found equal to every emergency in future, as they have been in the past, and the men of our nation will regard us as worthy successors to the long line of illustrious men who have served a soldier of the sea since the founding of the Corps.
This inspiring message from our 13th Commandant has left its mark in the hearts and minds of all Marines. Ladies and gentlemen, a message from the Commandant of the Marine Corps.
So it's more than just honor or, an obligation. It's human nature. It's your family, your brothers, your Marines. That's what you do for a brother.
You did your duty above and beyond, and you kept the faith with the highest traditions of the Marine Corps that you love.
It's like I told Cesar Rodriguez Chavez, we're going to either go in there or we're going to die trying.
2011 marks the 70th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor and the 10th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on 9/11.
The relationship between December the 7th and September the 11th took place 60 years apart, both by airplanes. It was unexpected on December the 7th. Again, it was unexpected on September the 11th. Who would ever think such a thing happening, of all places, the towers in New York? It's unbelievable. Still can't comprehend such a thing is happening. And I couldn't comprehend such a thing happening in 1941.
And I had seen some of the most horrible things that a 20-year-old kid couldn't really ever imagine. Now, when you see a ship made out of steel, do you know the hulls of those ships were 6-10-inch solid steel? The Japanese built torpedoes, had wood fins and all, so they float just 2 foot under the water. The harbor was only 40 feet deep. At that time, I was standing guard by the dry docks. Nobody thought anything except it's just a beautiful day.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
When the dust settled, the Japanese attack claimed the lives of 2,409 Americans and left another 1,200 wounded.
No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
The attacks on Pearl Harbor ignited a fierce national pride that caused many Americans to want to serve their country. Places like Parris Island, San Diego, and Montford Point all saw large numbers of recruits come to defend their nation as Marines.
The devastating toll of these incidents was eclipsed only by the awe-inspiring stories of heroism that emerged from those days, when our nation responded to tragedy with indomitable spirit, unconditional compassion, fierce national pride, and unshakable resolve.
On December the 7th, 1941, Marines and sailors not only showed that they were well trained, they embodied the courage and indomitable spirit for which America is known.
Storming beaches, prevailing against insurmountable odds, the Marines of World War II showed the world the meaning of uncommon valor.
Not until September the 11th in 2001 would the United States see another attack of such magnitude on American soil.
This time, the attacks occurred at the heart of New York City, the Pentagon, and a field in Pennsylvania.
8695. Hey, ma'am, how you doing? Are they going to be able to get somebody up here? Of course, ma'am. We're coming up to you. Well, there's no one here yet, and the floor is completely engulfed. We're on the floor, and we can't breathe. Okay. And it's very, very, very hot.
Hey, 9415. We got two isolated pockets of fire. We should be able to knock it down with 2 lines. Where you know that? 78th floor, numerous 1045 call horns.
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
In a moment, a beautiful September morning turned into the modern generation's day of infamy. And as with Pearl Harbor, a day marred by tragedy also became a day of exceptional heroism and selflessness.
Marines were among the first responders when our nation fell under attack on September 11, 2001. They, along with other citizens, joined the throng of firefighters and emergency personnel risking their own lives to help the many victims.
But I remember getting out my car and asking Mom, is everything okay? And she was like, a plane just flew into one of the buildings. The plane just flew into the World Trade Center.
I left a clear sunny day on the Brooklyn side of the city. When I got across the bridge, I was ID'd by the NYPD. And I reached into my left breast pocket and I pulled out my old expired Marine Corps ID card and I showed it to him. I'll never forget what the cop said to me. He said, "Give him hell, Staff Sergeant."
A number of those first responders lost their lives right here. Like so many in the 10 years since that day, these Marines thought first of their duty and their fellow Americans, and they didn't hesitate to do the right thing.
I remember getting closer and closer to that last tower, and about a quarter of a mile away, I saw the tower collapse right in front of me.
And when I got towards Central Park, or Park Row South and Vesey Street, I ran into a group of about 5 military guys that were in their utilities like me. We came under attack. They got into their uniforms and they responded to help out. There's a couple Army guys, Navy guy, and an Air Force guy, and 1 Marine.
It was great to see another Marine on site in his uniform, and he introduced himself to me as Staff Sergeant Carnes.
I saw the Marine there, and I said, "Hey, Marine, how about let's take a walk?" And we saw about a platoon size of firemen, about 20-some firemen standing in like a platoon formation. And I walked up to him and I said, "This is Staff Sergeant Carnes from the Marine Corps. To your knowledge, has anybody been conducting throughout the day search and rescue operations in the epicenter of the collapse?" They said, "No, Marine, if you go in there, you're gonna die." We could see the 16 acres, and there was nobody in there but us. We started yelling out at the top of our lungs, "United States Marines, is anyone here?" We would listen and then proceed about 10 meters and then stop and yell again. We could hear some muffled cries for help coming from what was once the depression of the South Tower.
And I remember yelling over to Staff Sergeant Carnes, "Hey, I think I have someone."
I said, who do we have down there? And they said, 2 PAPD police officers. They gave me their names. He had heard us yelling out United States Marine Corps, and he said to his partner who was trapped with him, Sergeant McLaughlin, he says, Sarge, the Marines are here. We're going to get rescued. He knew that once he heard United States Marine Corps, that they were going to live.
Of the many first responders killed, 23 had previously served their country as Marines.
I knew 2 of those Marines very well, both assigned to 6th Communications Battalion. First was my gunnery sergeant, Matthew Garvey, who I'd known for 6 years. The other was a police officer who was a legend on a police department, as well as being a first sergeant of the 6th Communications Battalion, Michael Curtin, who both perished that morning.
We lost 17 Marines that day. We honored them on our Marine Corps birthday, November 10th. We called the roll of all 17 Marines that were killed, and it's an honor and a privilege to be part of that celebration.
In the Marine Corps, like when you go out in the combat environment, you know that